Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock reunited recently, rekindling the magic of their on-screen chemistry almost 3 decades after their iconic roles in Speed. Fans rejoiced at seeing the duo together, but another lesser-known story involving Keanu unfolded, a chance meeting between the Hollywood star and a young police officer on a quiet Los Angeles night. This encounter transformed an otherwise routine patrol into an extraordinary memory, leaving a lasting impression on both men. It began as an uneventful evening in Los Angeles. The city, known for its vibrant hustle, seemed unusually serene. Traffic was sparse, and the streets, usually abuzz with activity, were unusually quiet. Officer James Humphrey, a newly transferred patrolman, was easing into his shift. Having previously worked in the chaotic downtown core, he was unaccustomed to the slower, almost sleepy atmosphere of his new neighborhood. As he drove through dimly lit streets, the occasional crackle of the police radio provided updates about minor incidents, but nothing seemed out of the ordinary. It felt like just another calm night. The stillness was interrupted when a sleek black Porsche Carrera appeared on the road ahead. Its polished chrome accents gleamed under the streetlights, and its unmistakable design radiated affluence. The car glided along with a controlled grace, though slightly over the speed limit. At first, James was tempted to overlook the minor infraction, but a brief drift from the center lane piqued his curiosity. Something about the car and its driver felt unusual. Deciding to investigate, James turned on his patrol lights and signaled for the vehicle to pull over. As the Porsche slowed to a stop under the faint glow of a street lamp, James stepped out of his patrol car. He approached the vehicle cautiously, his flashlight reflecting off its flawless surface. Tapping lightly on the tinted window, he watched as it lowered smoothly, revealing a man who immediately caught his attention. The driver had long, slightly wavy black hair peppered with streaks of gray, framing a face that exuded calm and charisma. His demeanor was composed, and his warm, approachable smile hinted at a life lived in the spotlight. "Good evening, sir. Can I see your license and registration?" James asked, his tone professional but curious. The man nodded politely, retrieving the requested documents from the glove compartment. Handing them over, he met James's gaze with a friendly yet humble expression. As James glanced at the license, the name, Keanu Reeves, leapt off the card. He blinked momentarily, taken aback. Could this really be the Keanu Reeves, the Hollywood icon known for The Matrix and John Wick? Dismissing the thought as a coincidence, James reminded himself to stay focused. He glanced back at the man, his features now strikingly familiar. Gathering his courage, James decided to ask a question that had been nagging him. "You get a lot of questions about your name, don't you?" he asked, his voice tinged with nervous humor. The driver chuckled softly, his laugh as unassuming as his demeanor. "Every now and then," he replied with a small grin, his tone playful yet modest. Realization hit James like a lightning bolt. This wasn't just a namesake, it was him. Struggling to maintain his composure, James hesitantly asked, "You're not? Are you really Keanu Reeves?" The man's amused smile widened, and he nodded lightly. "Yes, that's me." In that moment, the calm night took on an almost surreal quality. Here was one of Hollywood's most admired and humble stars, casually driving through the city and treating a routine police stop with the same respect and grace he was known for. James, still trying to process the situation, found himself fumbling for words. I'm a big fan," he finally managed to say. "Your work. It's incredible." Keanu, ever gracious, thanked him sincerely. Despite the officer's evident awe, the interaction felt refreshingly genuine. They exchanged a few more pleasantries before James, regaining his professional demeanor, informed Keanu of the minor infraction. Keanu nodded understandingly, his calm response further solidifying the impression of a man grounded in humility. As Keanu drove off into the quiet Los Angeles night, James remained rooted to the spot for a moment, his thoughts racing. The encounter left him both thrilled and inspired. What began as an ordinary shift had turned into a once-in-a-lifetime experience, a chance meeting with a star whose humanity matched his fame. For James, the memory of that night became a treasured story, a reminder of life's unpredictability and the surprising connections it can bring. For Keanu, it was likely just another moment in a life defined by understated grace and an unwavering ability to leave a positive mark on those he meets. Officer James Humphrey's night began as just another quiet patrol on the calm streets of Los Angeles, but it soon turned into an extraordinary story he would carry with him forever. The dim glow of streetlights illuminated his path as he spotted a sleek black Porsche cruising slightly over the speed limit. Something about the car and the way it drifted momentarily from the lane caught his attention. Turning on his lights, James signaled for the vehicle to pull over, expecting just another routine traffic stop, perhaps a tired driver or someone lost in their thoughts. Here is your text properly formatted into paragraphs, with every word included. Little did he know, the man behind the wheel was about to transform his ordinary shift into a remarkable memory. As James approached the car, the tinted windows smoothly rolled down to reveal a familiar face. Long, slightly wavy black hair streaked with strands of gray framed a calm and collected expression. James's first impression was one of intrigue. There was something distinctly familiar about this driver. The man smiled warmly, his eyes carrying a glint of humor as he greeted James and politely asked if there was an issue. James, trying to maintain his professionalism, requested the man's license and registration. When the man handed over the documents, the name on the license made James pause, Keanu Reeves. At first, James thought it might just be a coincidence. After all, Keanu Reeves was a name that belonged to one of the most beloved Hollywood actors in the world. He shook off the thought, reminding himself not to jump to conclusions. But as he glanced back at the man in the driver's seat, the resemblance became undeniable. Slowly, realization dawned, and James couldn't help but let out a nervous smile. His heart raced as he asked the driver, "Are you really Keanu Reeves?" Keanu, with a humble chuckle and a knowing smile, admitted that he was probably who James thought he was. The wave of realization hit James in full force. He was standing face to face with one of Hollywood's biggest stars. Struggling to contain his excitement, he stammered as he told Keanu it was an honor to meet him, his voice wavering between professionalism and awe. Keanu, true to his reputation for humility, responded with equal warmth, saying that the honor was mutual. Their conversation flowed easily from that moment. Keanu explained that he had gone out for a late-night drive to clear his head, finding comfort in the stillness of the night. James nodded, his nerves settling as he took in the actor's calm demeanor. The officer couldn't resist mentioning that he was a huge fan of The Matrix and John Wick, confessing that those films had left a lasting impression on him. Keanu's expression softened, and he smiled as he revealed that those were his favorite roles too, not because of their fame, but because of what they had taught him. Neo had shown him the power of the mind, while John had taught him resilience and the importance of pushing forward no matter the obstacles. James was struck by Keanu's thoughtful response. Here was a man who had reached the pinnacle of fame, yet he spoke with the humility and authenticity of someone completely unaffected by his celebrity status. James couldn't help but comment on how grounded Keanu seemed, especially compared to other high-profile figures he had encountered in his career. Keanu nodded, acknowledging that fame could sometimes make people lose touch with reality. But for him, life's ups and downs had taught him to stay humble. As their conversation deepened, James opened up about his own struggles. He admitted that while he became a police officer to help people, the job often felt routine, pulling people over, filling out paperwork, and handling minor incidents. Keanu listened intently, his empathy shining through. In a calm and reassuring tone, he told James that even small actions could have profound effects. He shared his own experiences, noting that while his work as an actor might seem glamorous, it came with its own share of challenges and doubts. Sometimes, simply showing up and doing your job was enough to make a difference, even if it wasn't immediately visible. Keanu's words resonated deeply with James. He began to reflect on moments from his career, guiding lost children home, helping stranded drivers, and escorting an elderly couple to the hospital on a cold night. These small acts, which he had once dismissed as insignificant, suddenly felt meaningful. Keanu's wisdom reminded him that every gesture, no matter how small, had the potential to leave a lasting impact. As the conversation wound down, Keanu reached into the back seat of his car and pulled out a card. He quickly signed it and handed it to James with a smile. On it, he had written, "To Officer James, thanks for your service. Every small act of kindness counts." James's face lit up with a wide smile as he carefully tucked the card into his pocket, a priceless keepsake from an unforgettable encounter. With a final wave, Keanu started his car and drove off into the Los Angeles night, leaving James standing by the roadside, a mixture of awe and gratitude washing over him. This chance meeting had not only given James a story to cherish but also a renewed sense of purpose in his work. Do you think celebrities like Keanu Reeves should receive special treatment, or does his humility set a higher standard for all public figures? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out our next video for more incredible stories.